$40. That's what I paid for one bag of lawn fertilizer last April. It's a warm Saturday. The coffee is still hot in my hand. I'm walking barefoot across my back lawn, and for a second it feels good under my feet. Then I see it. That same pale, tired patch by the fence. The one I have fed 3 springs running. And there it is again. Yellow, thin, sulking in the sun. That bag promised me a thick green lawn. The garden aisle promised it too. Every spring, the same promise on a different label. I want to be honest with you. I fell for it every single year. I would spread the granules. I would water them in. I would wait for that explosion of new growth they print on the front of the bag. Most people do exactly what I did. They buy the biggest bag, they dump it down in early spring, they soak it and hope, and nothing really changes. A quick green flush for a week, then back to tired, patchy grass by July. So last year I stopped, I got angry, and I went looking. I compared the back of that $40 bag against a soil test from my own yard, and the numbers did not match at all. That corner by the fence was where the truth finally started to show. So here is the question I want you to sit with while I tell you what I found. What if the very thing you keep feeding your lawn is the reason it keeps dying? I'm going to show you this in 2 parts. First, why the stuff in that bag gives you a flash of green and then quits on you. Second, why the ground underneath your grass is quietly starving no matter how much you feed the top. And at the very end, I'm going to hand you the one homemade mixture the product industry could never put on a shelf. It's older than every bag in that store. It's free, and I'll keep it sealed until you understand why it works. Let me start with the part that fooled me the longest. Part 1 is the heartbreak almost every homeowner knows by feel. The green flush that fades, and I'm putting it first because it's the exact trick that keeps you coming back to the register. Here's the small mystery that cracked it open for me. Why does the lawn look incredible for about 10 days after I feed it, and then look worse than before I started? I used to think that green flush meant the fertilizer was working. It felt logical. You feed the grass goes green, job done. But here is the truth. That fast green is not health. It's a stress response. Most people think they're feeding the grass. What's actually happening is you're dumping a load of salt into the soil. Synthetic quick-release nitrogen is a salt. Ammonium nitrate, urea, all of it behaves like salt once it hits the ground. And salt does one thing near a root. It pulls water out, it's called osmosis, and it runs in the wrong direction for your grass. The salt concentration outside the root gets so high that moisture gets dragged out of the plant instead of into it. That's why overfed lawns get those crispy brown streaks. That's fertilizer burn. You didn't feed the grass too little, you fed it a shock of salt it couldn't drink around. And the fast green? The plant throws up a burst of soft, weak top growth to use that sudden nitrogen before it washes away. Thin blades, shallow roots, growth that looks like success and collapses in the first dry week of summer. Now here is the number that made me put the bag down. With quick-release nitrogen on a normal lawn, somewhere between 40 and 60% of it never feeds your grass at all. It leaches straight down past the roots or gases off into the air within days. So of my $40, I was watering half of it into the ground where the roots couldn't reach. I paid full price and my lawn ate less than half the plate. Let me flip that belief for you right now. A fast green lawn is not a fed lawn. It's a lawn on a sugar rush, about to crash. So here is how you actually fix it. Simplest first. Method 1, stop feeding by the calendar and start feeding by the soil temperature. Cool season grass barely takes up nitrogen until the soil sits above about 55 degrees. If you spread that bag in cold March ground, the grass can't use it and the rain washes it away. Push your feeding to when the soil is warm enough to actually drink it. Method 2, if you're going to use a bag at all, switch to slow-release nitrogen and cut the rate in half. Look on the label for the words slow release or coated. That means the nitrogen is released over weeks instead of dumped in one salty flood. Half the burn, half the waste, and steady color instead of a spike. Method 3, and this is the one the old-timers knew, feed your grass hardest in the fall, not the spring. In autumn, the blades slow down, but the roots keep growing. Feed then, and the plant stores energy down deep instead of blowing it on soft top growth. That's how you get a lawn that survives August instead of surrendering to it. Here's what you stand to lose if you ignore this. Every spring, you shock the grass, watch it flush, watch it crash, and reach for the bag again. Thin roots, bare patches, and a lawn that gets more dependent on the bag every single year, like it forgot how to feed itself, because that's the thing I started to notice. The bag doesn't fix the lawn, it just makes the lawn need the bag. And that's a strange kind of product, isn't it? One that works just well enough to keep you buying and never well enough to set you free. Before I show you what I found under my own grass, let me tell you where the whole map is kept. You're still standing over that pale patch by the fence, watching the green fade for the third spring in a row, wondering why the answer always seems just out of reach. Here's where it stops being guesswork. The folks who built this channel put every piece of it into a collection called the Complete Amish Yard Field Edition. The Amish Lawn Guide walks you through why your lawn keeps failing when it isn't your fault, and the homemade fertilizer protocol that feeds the soil instead of a bag. The Amish Soil Guide takes you further into precision soil testing that goes past the basic pH strip and a homemade fertilizer system built to outperform those store-bought bags. It's proven Amish natural methods, no synthetic inputs, no contractor fees, no guesswork, and it lands in your email as an instant PDF. And here's the free proof you can run tonight. Pull a plug of soil from your worst patch and a plug from a healthy spot near the house and smell them both. The living one smells sweet and dark. The dead one smells like nothing at all. That's the whole story, and you can check it before you spend a dime. The fastest way to get the books is to scan the QR code right there on your screen or go to the link in the description or the pinned comment. And this is honest work you can start this very season while the ground is warming, not a bag reminder mailed to sell you again. Now, back to that dead plug of soil and the empty smell that told me the real story. But the fading green was only half of what I found. Because even when I got the feeding right, that tired patch by the fence still didn't come back the way it should. So I dug down, literally. And that's where the second problem was, hiding. Part 2 is the one nobody in that aisle ever mentions, and here's the blunt version. You can feed the grass all you want while the soil underneath is dead. The color is on the blades. The health is in the ground. And the ground was where I'd never once looked. I pulled a plug of soil from that bad patch and from a healthy spot near my patio. The healthy plug smelled sweet and dark and crumbled apart with worm channels running through it. The bad plug was pale, tight, and it smelled like nothing. Nothing at all. That empty smell is the whole story. Living soil smells alive because it's packed with billions of microbes, fungi, and bacteria in every handful. Those microbes are the crew that actually feeds your grass. They break down organic matter and hand nitrogen to the roots in a form the plant can drink slowly, exactly when it needs it. Most people think fertilizer feeds the plant. What's actually happening in a good lawn is the fertilizer feeds the microbes, and the microbes feed the plant. And when you keep dumping salt on top, you kill that crew off. You sterilize the very thing that was supposed to do the work for free. So you end up on a treadmill. Salt kills the soil life. Dead soil can't feed the grass. Grass looks hungry. You add more salt. And every bag makes the ground a little more dependent and a little more dead. Here's a figure that stopped me cold. Healthy topsoil holds up to a couple 100 pounds of nitrogen locked in its organic matter, sitting right under your feet, not in a bag, in the ground. You are standing on more fertilizer than you'll ever buy, and salt is the thing keeping it locked away from your roots. So part 2 is about waking that soil back up, and there are 3 ways in. Cheapest first. Method 1, top dress with a thin layer of compost, just a 1/4 inch, raked across the lawn in spring or fall. That 1/4 inch is not fertilizer, it's an inoculation. You're pouring millions of new microbes back onto dead ground, and they get to work breaking down the thatch and feeding the roots for months. Method 2, feed the microbes something they love. And this one sounds strange until you understand it. A cup of plain molasses dissolved in a watering can and poured across the lawn. The sugar is not for the grass. It's food for the bacteria in the soil, and it wakes them up fast. Traditional growers fed their ground with sugars and manures long before anyone sold a bag, and this is a shadow of the same idea. Method 3. Brew compost tea, which is just compost steeped in water for a day with a little air bubbling through it. You're multiplying those microbes into the millions and spraying them straight onto the lawn as a living liquid. It's what a careful gardener reaches for when they want to rebuild dead ground without a single synthetic granule. And now you can see the shape of the villain, can't you? It's not one evil person, it's a business model. A living lawn that feeds itself needs almost nothing from a store. So the products that sell the hardest are the ones that give you fast color, kill the soil life quietly, and leave you needing the next bag. Your repeat failure isn't a bug in their plan, it's the plan. If this is already changing how you see that bag in your garage, do one thing for me right now. Subscribe. This channel is for people who are done being sold the fast green and want the mechanism the aisle keeps fuzzy on purpose. That's it. One tap, and let's keep going, because the next part is the reason I made this whole video. Part 3, prevention, and now I'll finally name it. The one homemade fertilizer that feeds the grass and the soil at the same time, that costs you nothing, and that no company on earth can ever bottle and sell you, is properly diluted urine. I know. Stay with me, because the reason it works is beautiful, and the reason it was buried is exactly what you'd expect by now. Your urine is close to a complete lawn fertilizer already. It runs at roughly an 11:1:2 on the nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium scale, which is nearly the same ratio as a premium lawn feed. It's mostly urea. The exact same urea, nitrogen printed on that $40 bag, except this comes out of you, warm and free, every single day. Here is why it beats the bag. It's in a natural, water-carried form. The soil microbes recognize instantly, so it feeds that living crew instead of shocking it, as long as you get one thing right. You dilute it, 1 part urine to 10 parts water in a watering can. At that strength, it's gentle, it won't burn, and it soaks in to feed the roots and the microbes together. And this is not some new internet trick. This is old. This is the method our great-grandparents used before a chemical aisle existed. Traditional growers across Britain and Europe collected it, called it the golden liquid, and poured it on their crops for centuries. It fed kitchen gardens through the war years when no fertilizer could be bought at any price. It worked for 1,000 years before the first bag was ever printed. So why did it vanish? Because you cannot put a price tag on something every human produces for free. There's no bag to sell, no shelf to stock, no spring reminder to mail you. A product industry can't build a business on a thing you already own. So it wasn't argued against. It was just quietly left out, made to feel dirty and backward, until an entire generation forgot the ground used to feed itself. Here's how you use it this weekend. Collect it, mix 1 part to 10 parts water, and pour a full watering can over a patch of tired lawn once a week through the growing season. Keep it off the same spot 2 days running so you never overdo the nitrogen. That's the whole method. 1 adult produces enough nitrogen in a year to feed hundreds of square feet of grass, which is the same work as $50 to $100 of bagged fertilizer you'll now never buy. So which path is right for you? If you've got a small yard and you just want it thick and green for almost nothing, the diluted golden liquid alone will carry you through the season. If you've got tired, pale, compacted ground like my patch by the fence, start with the 1/4 inch of compost to wake the soil, then keep it fed with the dilution on top. And if you're managing a big lawn and want a system, feed the microbes with compost tea in spring, feed the roots with the dilution through summer, and save your heavy feeding for fall. Match the method to your ground, and you stop buying the problem. Now, once your soil comes back to life and your grass starts truly growing again, you're going to hit a new problem, and I'd rather you heard it from me first. That thick, fast growth builds up a spongy layer between the blades and the soil called thatch, and if you let it get too deep, it starts choking the very lawn you just rescued, holding water on top and inviting disease. If that's the wall you're about to hit, or if you're already fighting a spongy, springy layer under your grass, leave me a comment with the single word thatch, and I'll know to put you first when I answer. Because here's what I really want you to feel. You didn't have a bad lawn. You had ground that was quietly taken hostage sold back to you one bag at a time, when the answer was inside your own house the whole while. You just got it back. My next video exposes that thatch problem and the free, traditional way to break it down without renting a machine or tearing your lawn apart. Subscribe right now so it lands in front of you the day it goes up, because the aisle's not going to tell you that one either. And this time, neither of us is going to fall for it. I only gave you the overview here. Inside the Amish Garden Circle, I take you through the full soil-first feeding system, ingredient by ingredient, picking up right where I left off. And if you get stuck, ask me your own question. A real person, me, answers you myself. You'll belong right alongside gardeners like you. Just point your phone's camera at the code on screen, and you can cancel anytime. Now that your grass is growing strong, let me show you how to fix the moss, the weeds, and those bare bald spots for good. It's a simple 3-step plan, and it's starting right here.